Let's assume you achieved a 2-2 in your undergrad degree. Now you might wonder whether it makes sense to do a master degree. In this short video, I will provide some generic advice for this particular case. Honestly, this is actually quite common, and I advised quite a few students that are in a similar situation. So I hope this is helpful. If you want to know more about the courses I do, have a look at the playlists and have a look at YUNIKARN.com. Now, first I should stress a few limitations. Of course, here I can only provide generic advice. Now, your individual circumstances might affect obviously your performance, and also institutional settings might have an impact. And these have to be considered. Moreover, there are exogenous factors that matter in this particular decision. So, for example, COVID has had an impact on the job market, and so timing market entry might make sense in these circumstances. Moreover, business cycles matter, but also regulations. Now, this in particular is relevant if you consider migrating. Now, if you're not familiar with the UK system, what is a 2-2? So how does this actually compare to other outcomes? So usually, and this is based on UK data, you would assume that about 75% of students achieve a higher grade than a 2-2. So a 2-2 puts you at the bottom of the distribution. Now, of course, that's not a nice place to be. In most institutions, a 2-2 would refer to marks in the range of 50% to 59%. The Open University differs, so it has a much wider range and goes up to even 70%. Now, the main challenge is that with a 2-2, you are at the bottom of the distribution. There's not much else you can say about this. And that, of course, affects your job search. And in particular, if you want to aim for graduate schemes, many exclude students that have not achieved a 2-1 or higher. So what do you do about it? So one obvious way to address this is to simply add a master level degree. Now, there are a few arguments, and so when I speak to students, I go through them because they will, of course, differ depending on your circumstances. But these are the most important things I would consider. An argument in favor for doing a master is many people say that only your last degree counts. Now, this is partly true. Yes, people would look at your master level degree first, but you can't really hide a 2-2 in your undergrad. And it will certainly show when you go for interviews or when you report this on your CV. So this only partly addresses this problem. The other benefit is you have a timing benefit. So put differently, if you do the master, you step out. You don't enter the job market, which might be at the moment a good thing to do. For instance, in the case of a looming recession. But of course, and that's the counter argument, end of the day, you have to enter the market. You just delay the inevitable. So at one point, you will need to enter the market and you have to face the music. Yeah, you have to compete. So it does not address some underlying weaknesses in your CV and in your skill set and your social networks. Sometimes it might make sense to do a master if there are lots of jobs that require a master level education. Now, this is in particular true for data science, and I think I should do a separate video on that. Again, if you have any questions, any comments, just provide some feedback below. Now, what are the counter arguments? I think the main one is it is quite expensive. It's an expensive strategy, and quite often it doesn't really add that much, in particular in the UK context. You have to be really careful, and I strongly advise you to look into the particular master program extremely carefully, because many master level programs are not really at the right level. What I mean by this is that many universities do transition masters. So that means that people with different undergrad backgrounds can do the master degree. So if you did an undergrad in, say, accountancy and you want to do now a master in accountancy, quite frequently the master level repeats what you already know and what you have done at the undergrad level. So you have to be very careful there, and you have to explore exactly whether the master really builds on your skills or not. Now, for instance, if you do STEM subjects, like in my case, I did an undergrad in mathematics and did a master in mathematics. For the MSc in mathematics, an undergrad degree in mathematics is required in many institutions. So here you really add to your level of understanding and you become indeed a subject expert. The other thing to consider is it's not only the fees, but also, well, you can't really work full time. So you lose a lot of money for this particular move. So it should be better worth it. In the end, and that's my experience, and of course I mostly focus on working in financial services and consulting and education, work experience matters always more. You know, to be really honest, a degree doesn't do much. Employers are not really fooled, they're not really stupid. They know exactly what is the value of degrees. And lots of people have degrees nowadays, so it does not necessarily give you the edge. What really matters more, honestly, is work experience and improving your social capital. So that is about networks, you know, forming relationships, and learning additional skills beyond only academic skills. So I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below, and I'll see you in the next one.